Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello there. She said gravelly. Gravelly. Maybe my sister sounds like that too today. Then you'll have two.
You're kidding, right?
Oh, God. No, you sound better than me.
It's spring. It's a spring, and I slept with the windows open.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm better. How are you?
I'm fine. No, now I'm wheezing. Yeah, it's spring. Definitely spring. All right, Suze. I don't know. Nothing but horror. Okay, hang on.
You gotta know. You said you had all sorts of stuff when we talked.
All right, I have all sorts of stuff, and I found some more this morning.
Good.
There, you know how we do worry. I know I do about my failing memory. How I can't come up quickly with name. I never could with names, but even things I know, I can't retrieve. You know, like my dreams of ever being on Jeopardy are over because I'm not quick enough anymore. I can't be certain I'll be quick. So there's this piece in the New York Times today saying that scientists think they're onto something of how to stimulate older brains so that they perform as well as a young brain. They've done studies they got a bunch of young people in their 20s and they got people in their 60s and their 70s, and they do 25 minutes of gentle stimulation by electrodes in a little cap that you wear, and after that the old farts do every bit as well as the young people.
Well, get me one of those damn caps.
I know.
And let's order one for Mom.
I know, but they're not ready yet. They're not ready. But who the hell knows when it?
Well, you could go to Walgreens and get one of those little devices that you can now just put on your back with a battery on it, it buzzes you, and put it on your head.
Yeah, but they said actually there are people who are already doing that kind of thing, and it's all over the internet. People sharing tips online about how, what part of your head to stick an electrode, and the scientists here say that's really not the way to do it. But, you can do it. People are saying it works for depression as well.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know, but because that kind of...
well, the thing that apparently works for depression is microdosing LSD. And I don't know why they aren't moving full force ahead on that.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, real microdosing.
Yeah, but who the hell knows? See, the thing is, there's not enough real science behind any of this crap, including science.
No, because we demonize
marijuana.
It all.
I know. There's just no science here. But it's called transcranial alternating current stimulation. And this was released in the neuroscience journal that, in fact, it seems to work on older brains. It doesn't do a damn thing for the younger people's brains.
Well, they don't need it yet.
Right. In fact, it can make them have some negative impacts. But,
but I see what's interesting, though, is in many ways my brain actually works better. And I can recall certain things that I couldn't have brought up when I was younger.
Yeah.
But other things, not so much.
Well, here's what
when I came back from California, I didn't know where anything in my kitchen was.
Are you kidding?
I mean, I could not remember where my glassware was.
Susan,
I'm telling you, I had to go through everything and remind myself where everything was. I thought, boy, that was like a shuddering down step. I mean, I know where everything is now, but it's hard when you've been living one place. I live in so many different places, I just get confused.
Jesus. Anyway, it says right here that the memory begins to slip in one's 20s, and it keeps slipping. And it's particularly true of what's called working memory, which is, I guess, where your glassware is. It's the mental sketch pad that holds all the numbers, names, other facts that you need throughout your day. That is what, in fact, really starts to go. But these brief sessions of specialized brain stimulation looks like it can reverse, at least temporarily. I mean, yeah, this kind of decline. So that's pretty cool. And
that's very cool.
I'm just saying that. And here's a researcher saying, well, we can bring back the superior function you had when you were younger, but not quite yet. Yeah, I wish they would.
It's always not quite
yet. I know. I wish they wouldn't put this stuff out. Because you get all excited and then, it's 10 years down the pipeline or something.
Right. Anyway. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But speaking of that, I was saying how there's so much stuff we just don't know. And like you mentioned, microdosing with LSD. But I think that what's happening now with marijuana is a lot like that. I mean, people are, CBD,
you can do anything.
THC,
you can get it suppositories. You can get it in dose pens. You can get it in salves. You can get it in.
And nobody really knows. So people who are getting their medical cards here, find that the doctors and the people who are, running the dispensaries, they don't really know what it is you should take or what dosage. And it's sort of just, everybody just sort of figures things out by themselves.
I don't. Then shame on the people at the dispensaries in Pennsylvania. Lynn,
well,
that's really not how it is in California.
Well, wait, I can't pretend to know. I've never been to one here. But I know that a friend of mine, an older woman, went, and she was given a capsule of some sort and for pain, and she took it, and she got in her car and couldn't find her way home.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. That should never, ever, ever happen, and she should have been told not to do that. Although that hit very quickly.
I don't know. Don't ask me.
But that shouldn't, that really shouldn't have happened. This stuff comes with labels all over it, and the first thing it says is don't drive.
Okay. Here's something, though, that they are finding. And I've got an animus toward edible marijuana, I think you know. I do not think it should be legal until they figure out how to make sure that
properly dose it.
Buyer has any idea of what it is they're getting. Because what is happening is that if you ask doctors in emergency rooms where this stuff is all legal, they'll say the vast majority of people who end up in ERs because of marijuana is from people who have ingested edibles.
And then done other things like drink or smoke or stuff like that.
Not necessarily.
But here's the thing. Edibles don't behave the same way as if you're smoking marijuana.
Right. Exactly right.
Edibles have to be metabolized by your body, just like a pill. And then, so it takes up to an hour to find out what that first no more than, I mean, in some cases in California, it's a 2 milligram dose, and don't take any more than 2 milligrams. And then after that, if you don't feel anything, then add another 2 until you determine what your body sees as the dose. And everyone has to do. But any worthwhile dispensary spends the time to tell you that. I mean, when I took our cousin in for a pain salve, the guy wouldn't even let him buy it until he tried it.
Okay, Susan, I'm just telling you what's going on. This is, I mean, they're starting to report in Colorado. They're having their second thoughts about the edibles, because edibles, even though they accounted for 10% of cannabis-linked ER admissions, and patients displayed markedly different symptoms. Half of the patients who taken edibles complained of intoxication. Now, those who use edibles were also more likely to experience acute psychiatric symptoms, cardiovascular issues such as irregular heartbeat. I got to tell you, I think this stuff, I think this is nuts. I really do. And you know, I have used marijuana for 50 plus years. 50 plus years. I am no, me
too.
Newbie. And
I'm 50 plus too. I'm no newbie either. I don't like edibles either. You know that.
But I just want to say that I have had edibles sometimes. I hate them. I can't stand, because I can't stand being blindsided when they finally start hitting your system. You know, if you smoke this stuff, it happens almost immediately. So I was given an edible that was made from a homegrown plant by somebody I know and trust. And she definitely knew about my capacity and everything. She said, this is not much. She had made a little almond butter and said, just put it on a piece of toast. It's really good. I did. I have never in my life had a reaction to marijuana like that. I actually felt like I was on a bad acid trip, and I've had those too. I ended up face down on my bed for about 7 hours, just holding on until I was aware of what had happened, but I really felt I couldn't move.
No, you had an overdose. You had that's a marijuana overdose.
This is happening. I have a friend here who used to write for the local paper, who went off to some reunion of some sorts in Colorado. This is a few years back, after they had made recreational pot legal. And she's not a regular pot user, although she's used it. And she and a friend went to lunch. I mean, first they went to a pot shop, and I think they had a cookie, whatever. Then they went to lunch. And her friend at lunch ends up almost going face down into her plate and is panicked. And my friend is panicked. Ambulances are called. They end up being one of the stats for ER admissions in Colorado. And my friend didn't realize she was also really in bad shape. And it was the ambulance people who, putting her friend in, looked at her and said, I think you better come too. And they both ended up in the hospital and totally screwed up. Why should that be legal?
Well, I'm not fighting with you about it. I think that I will say that I think the state of the product in Colorado is also not up to California, which is a little ahead of them. California is much better about dosing and having instructions on packages about this stuff, because it's a known problem. And honestly, I feel the way you do. Either they do absolutely nothing for me, or I get ill. I end up with an overdose.
I think it's insane that there's all this candy.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to fight you on that. But other people find that that's the way that they know what they don't react to it that way, and that's the healthiest way in terms of not inhaling.
No, it's not. They even say that. I've got an article here in the week. So the study suggests that eating weed may be more dangerous than smoking it.
Cool.
Don't do it. Jeez, I'm just saying, it's like the wild, wild west out there, and everybody.
Well, listen, yes, it is like the wild, wild west out there, but it's not because of recreational edibles.
No, but it's because the federal government has not allowed there to be any testing done.
It's because the federal government only regulates that which it shouldn't and stopped regulating that which it should.
Larry writes, your theme today reminds me of Mackenzie Carpenter's article in the PG. Who do you think I'm talking about? She ended up writing a hysterical piece that the Post-Gazette published about her experience. Although if you talk to her about it now, she remembers it as a frightening experience. It's one of those things that you're terrified the whole time it's happening, but but it becomes a funny story.
Yeah. As I'm living through those moments, I comfort myself thusly. Yeah. I say, when you've lived through this is going to be one hell of a great story.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I have a question. Here's another headline I saw today. 14 tons of pangolin scales are intercepted. What the hell does that mean?
What kind of scales?
Pangolin, Pangolin. Does that mean anything to you?
Pangolin scales.
Yeah.
Intercepted.
14 tons. Okay, that was my reaction. So I read further. I'm thinking, how do you get 14 tons of scales? I mean, who has scales?
Well, that's why I'm wondering, are they scales or are they scales?
They're scales. They're scales like on a fish. I mean, who has scales? Fish, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking.
Well, other reptiles also have scales.
Okay.
Like those Komodo, whatever they're called, monsters and Gila monsters and whatever they are.
Komodo dragons. Okay. So you're right. Lizards too can have scales. So
right.
But 14 tons of scales.
That's a lot of lizards.
It turns out. And this whole article keeps saying, and pangolin scales. I'm thinking, what the fuck's a pangolin? Whoever heard of a pangolin? You can't tell me like I'm supposed to know? And it turns out that it is the most frequently illegally trafficked mammal in the world. How the hell don't any of us know that this beast exists? It ain't going to exist long. It says they give birth to little scaly babies? Yeah. And it says here
maybe they just have psoriasis.
No. I've seen looking at a pic. They ain't pretty. But they figured 36,000.
And what? The scales are a prophylactic.
Something like that, right. 36,000 of these animals they figure, had to have been killed to yield 14 tons of scales. 36,000. This was one intercepted shipment in Singapore. Isn't that, I find, again, humanity.
Nah, we need to outlaw humans.
Yeah, we do. What is the most dangerous thing on the planet? Humans! I mean, without a doubt. The Vietnamese see pangolin meat They're not even into the scales as a luxury that conveys social status. Oh, see, this is why. Yeah, how do you not hate humanity when you? Oh, so tens of thousands of these animals should die so that you can lord it over your next door neighbor. 70% of people in China believe that the pangolin can cure rheumatism, skin diseases. They put it in their wine. They powder form for medicines. I never even heard of these poor animals, and they're going to be gone. Susan?
Yes.
What is that sound?
I accidentally walked into my kitchen as my coffee
Dishwasher.
pot was
your
making a
coffee
noise.
pot. Okay, I'm just asking. I'm looking at a pangolin. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's a kind of anteater.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was picturing.
Look at how big the scales are. Oh, my God. Can you see it?
No, I'm not. Well, no, I'm not
I'm
looking
asking my
at you.
audience.
No.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I hate people. Okay, just saying. Okay, so I'm not the only one who'd never heard of a pangolin. But how is that the most poached and illegally trafficked mammal is a mammal we didn't even know existed? Well, it doesn't matter.
Hey.
Huh?
I'm not watching you. Which of my pictures do you have up? I haven't gotten angry yet.
Well, no. Your smiling face is up.
Okay.
Remember last time Susan was on, we talked about was it an email? Somebody
wrote in that I should have an angry face.
Right. So
because it was incongruous or incongruous that
when you're screaming,
that I should be smiling whilst screaming.
Yeah, and so we are ready and able when you lose it to put your angry face up, which frankly I don't even think is an angry face. I think it's a deranged face.
Well, when I get angry, I'm vaguely deranged.
Yeah, well, this is true. But I think the people are going to... I wanted to just have it happen. You've now given away the surprise.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was so excited.
Well,
no, we just have to wait for the moment, and I might be determinably cheery for months.
Lou writes, just had a light bulb flash. Curious that some of this pot stuff is not regulated. Remember John Boehner left Congress, got into the pot business? Oh, the criminals are everywhere to make money. I don't know. No. But yeah. Now the white guys are showing up to make money off of it.
To make the money, having locked up all the black guys.
Having incarcerated all the black people. And
which have the side effect, as Clarence would point out, of taking away their votes as well.
This is true. So I hate to even bring it up, but Donald Trump appears to be literally dismantling the entire Department of Homeland Security.
You notice that?
Yes.
Including his own security detail, which, I don't know, someone might see as an opportunity.
Wait a minute. What do you mean, his own detail he got rid of?
He fired the head of the Secret Service.
Yeah, but he's firing all the... Here is what's happened in the last week or two. Given the latest firings and forced, exits, We will
Given the fact that there's no more room in our country.
No, there's no more room. We will now have no permanent secretary or deputy secretary or the two undersecretaries of the Department of Homeland Security. We will not have a Secret Service director. We will not have a FEMA director. We will not have an ICE director. All of these positions are empty. We will not have a general counsel of ICE, a Citizenship and Immigration Services Director, an Inspector General, a COO, CFO, a Chief Privacy Officer, nor will anybody be heading Customs and Border Protection. He has literally thrown... Now, moving up into these positions are some people who are totally unqualified, who don't know what they're doing, and this purge... It's a purge of all the senior leadership in the Department of Homeland Security. And you think that makes us safe?
Yeah. Well, that's good for us. Yay, Donald!
It's unfriggin'
No, really. It's unbelievable. You're right.
This
and I mean, the
guy,
fact that we would be mourning some of these people, but some of them had a vague idea.
No, they're awful. Most of these people, I don't know if they're awful. A lot of them are horrible. But you know what we learn? You know who almost all these people are? You'll recall that when Trump first got into office, his first head of Homeland Security was General John Kelly, who later became his chief of staff. Thus, Nielsen ends up in the role. And Trump now hates Kelly, so he's literally scrubbing every person that Kelly put in when he was in a position to put people in place. Remember when Trump first put all those generals in right after he won? We thought, well, maybe the generals will actually, they're almost, I think, are they all gone now? Is there a general left?
I don't think so.
I don't know. And these are things that are coming up. People say they expect to see the departure of Francis Cisna, the head of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Kathy Kovarik, one of his top deputies, John Mitnick, the department's general counsel, senior member of Nielsen's leadership team, all of them said to be looked at by Stephen Miller as obstacles to implementing the president's policies. Also pressing for the resignation of Claire Grady, the acting deputy secretary, who under law would normally fill in for Nielsen, but they don't want her. They want the guy who was Customs and Border Protection, who now, I mean, it's just beyond belief. They're playing, if you look at, there's no one there who knows what's going on. If there's one thing that is necessary for security, it is stability in the leadership of these agencies, right?
And a continuation of information flow.
Hello? And we literally now have a security apparatus with nobody in it who has been vetted and approved. I have a caller. I'm sorry, I forgot about the caller. It's extraordinary. Caller, go ahead, please.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Susan. It's Mike in D.C.
Hi.
Hi.
So I speak about this with some authority because I used to work for as a contractor. And what happens when there's not someone in the senior position and someone's acting is that those acting don't want to do anything. Not because they're belligerent or not because they can't make a decision, but they're really just holding the place for the person that makes the decision. And so these are all career people. They know what they're doing, and they know that they're a placeholder until the real guy or gal comes in to make decisions. And I don't mean like major decisions, but day-to-day decisions. Everything from, should we renew this contract that's working successfully? No, because the new guy or gal may not want this. So it puts everybody in a holding pattern. And for the mainline people, the people that do the work, we're all like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? And we're literally waiting for decisions to be made that people are afraid to make because they're not the decider. They're just a temporary decider. And this is the problem when you hire someone, when you elect someone who has business experience but no experience with the government.
Yeah. Dear God. I mean,
well,
I know that people
who claims to have business experience.
Right, exactly. Failed business experience.
He has failed business experience, and he knows how to run a con. He knows how to, be a. I just, it's going to get so much worse, because the guy who was supposed to ascend to, I guess, I forget which position, the head of ICE, he had nominated him, then he yanked him off because he said he wants to go in a tougher direction. I mean, he wants to exhume, Goebbels or something. I mean, what are, and then he's talking.
The real sad part about all of this is that as we look to the future, in the best of all circumstances, if we elect anybody but Trump, it's not like you snap your fingers and recreate the government. It's not like all of those people who knew what they were doing have not gotten other jobs, moved on, changed their lives. No, thank you. We don't need to work for a government that treats its employees, who used to know how to treat its employees, and clearly that's now off the table. I don't want to work for the government. See you later.
I'm not even applying for jobs on usajobs.com.
That's right. Why
and
would
I'm
you?
not the only one, right?
Right.
So they
there's a foreign.
They create a brain drain for government
right,
work.
And that's probably the overall plan anyway. And there's a foreign service, a group of people who support foreign nations. There's also a senior executive service, which are those people in those positions that are given high jobs to hold spots to get the work done for people who are placed by the president to teach all those people. Those people are, if they can retire, they're retiring. And if they can find some place to hide, they're hiding until this all blows over. They're not going to put their neck on the line.
Of course not.
So I have no doubt that he has no applicants for these jobs. No SESs, no, even people in the States, no applicants for these jobs. And the people they do, they have to pass this, test of, are you a good Republican, or did you ever support me or not? Yeah. So Susan's right. It's going to take years to rebuild what this guy has done in 4 or 8 years.
Oh, 8.
Don't say 8. Don't say 8.
Don't.
I refuse to even accept that as a possibility. I will accept the fact that there might be another Republican. I hope it's not Trump. But
how's there going to be another Republican?
I expect there will be a primary challenger.
Yeah, but it's his
Trump.
party. It's his party.
Susan, they're too afraid of him. They're afraid of his Twitter, and they're afraid of the damage he can do to them. I don't think there's going to be a challenger.
Oh, no,
They're
I think
too afraid of
there
him.
will be. There will be a challenger.
I think there will be
like a John Kasich.
I don't know that the challenger will be successful.
No. Well,
but it will be enough to bother him. That's all I care about.
Well, and you hear that he wants to reinstitute family separation at the border.
Well, it was successful the first time.
What? It's they're retooling it a little bit. This is Stephen Miller at work again. He might be the most evil human being in the universe.
Well, and that was the other thing with Omar. With the Republicans using Omar for criticizing Stephen Miller as an anti-Semitic statement.
Well, that's such bullshit. I hereby excommunicate Stephen Miller from the Jewish religion.
Yeah, he's a self-hating Jew. That's what self-hating Jews look like.
I personally, he's gone. He's out. And take Jared fucking Kushner with you. So he's come up with something.
I could have said that, and then they could have put up my angry face.
Yeah, Susan.
Lynn, come on.
Susan. No,
You're not giving Susan a time to be angry.
No, we want the real deal, Susan. Don't manufacture it. We can wait another week or two.
I know. I'm too happy today. Go figure.
First time for everything.
But here's what they're calling it: a binary choice. And what they're going to do is, if a migrant family comes to us seeking shelter, they are going to give the parents an option. It's their binary
left
choice.
Or right?
It's their binary
choice.
Left
or right.
Exactly. Left or right.
You're right.
Do
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that German for left or right binary?
Yes. Somebody said they should call it Sophie's choice. Okay? Yeah. It's a binary choice. It's Sophie's choice. It's what Hitler's choice. They will tell parents that they have a choice of whether to voluntarily allow their children to be separated from them, or the other possibility is they can waive their child's humanitarian protections so the family can be detained in jail indefinitely together.
And who exactly is explaining this option to them? Someone with 8th grade Spanish?
God, how would anybody? What is happening to us? Anyway, I'm just saying. Just saying.
Susan, angry face.
I'm just trying to figure out. That's simply, people have a right to ask for asylum in this country without being punished, therefore. There is nothing legal about this.
No. And the other thing is...
perhaps forewarned is forearmed.
Listen.
I mean, we already have, thousands of attorneys on the border.
By the way,
standing next to the National Guard, apparently.
You bring up the law, Susan. I read a little snippet of something which my blood ran cold. There has been a federal court that has a 3-judge court. 2 of the appointees on this court are Trump jurists. One was actually served in his White House at some point. They have ruled that grand jury testimony, I don't want to get this wrong, but they have put a real difficult bar up for allowing any grand jury testimony to be released. And why would that case all of a sudden be important? Because of the Mueller.
Oh, because of the Mueller probe.
And
that's
because, everybody, we don't pay attention to this court stacking thing that McConnell has been doing. They are taking down that barrier that we used to have against tyranny called a judiciary and putting in these yes men, unqualified young yes men. And I do mean men, next to no woman among them.
And that's why this new policy is coming out from ICE, is because their old policy kept getting, judges kept overturning it, even Republican judges.
Right.
So they have to find a way to let the Republican judges say yes to it, and they're going to give it the Sophie choice. Well, they choose to be separated from the child. In broken Spanish, too. I'm going to keep going back to that because you try learning a new language.
I'm sorry. I don't get past the first bar that anybody and everybody has a legal right to ask for asylum without being punished.
That is correct. It's international law.
And taking away and giving you a choice of being punished or giving you a choice of your punishment is not constitutional.
Do you know? Oh God, I just see. I need that.
And eventually, you got to get.
Please. I'm sorry. I forgot what I was saying. I'm calling for the brain stimulator.
Why? Why would you want it? You'd rather forget.
No,
I was going to circle back to that.
I thought I had a really good point to make, though, and it literally disappeared in between me having the thought and starting to say it, and then it blanked out. Jesus. Okay.
I know. Here's the irritating part is it's going to whiz visibly right by your eyes 2 or 3 times, and you're not going to be able to catch its tail till around 3 o'clock this afternoon.
All right, Susan, whatever you say. We're not going to see...
Even that I find amusing.
I know. We're not going to see her angry face today. Wait till you see it. It is... You can literally... It can turn... I don't know. It'll... You know, Amy had the same reaction to it that I did. She looked at it like, what?
It's a tribute to my lack of vanity, I believe.
Yeah, well, there's that. That's true. Oh, wait, I don't know. We're doomed. Susan will laugh.
Well, you still have a caller on the line, so I'm going to
Okay, you still have a caller on the line. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you have to go to the bathroom? You can.
Oh, God.
Nice talking to you.
Bye.
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 Jesus Christ.
Jeez, your caller hung up on you.
That's okay. So, one other horror that we can talk about. You know, I like keeping up with the movies. There is a movie out which is gonna, it's called Unplanned. Have you heard about it?
No.
Oh, well.
Is it?
No, it is not. It has been playing in limited release, came out this weekend. And no one expected it to get anything. It made back all of its production costs in the first weekend, which is a success, obviously. And it placed 4th overall for all movies. Unplanned.
In limited release.
In limited release. It is about to be released to 1,100 theaters near you. This is a movie brought to you by a Christian group.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah.
I just didn't know the name. Okay. With Christy Metz and, yeah.
Yeah, and it makes Planned Parenthood look like it should be the next, villain in some,
Unplanned as in a pregnancy that some terrible woman wants to get an abortion.
This apparently is so graphic that the television networks rejected the film's trailer, said, we can't air that. But it is getting, and who's talking it up? Our vice president. Who's talking it up? Donald Trump Jr. Who's talking it up? Senator Ted Cruz. And get ready, this is their latest salvo in the culture war, and it is apparently ugly. People who know about Planned Parenthood and how it works, who have seen it, say that it is just grossly incorrect in the way it presents this. But they do it in a way that, I'm just telling you, they don't stop. They are amazing. We got a caller. Caller, go ahead. Hello.
Hey, I got two quick things, and I'll get out of your hair. First, if Trump doesn't want these immigrants coming across, stop cutting off their aid. He's cutting aid to these countries.
Well, the programs that that might keep them in their countries, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the second thing isn't sneaking in this country illegal? Isn't that a misdemeanor?
I have no idea.
Like running the stop sign.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think it is. Why do they worry about it so much then? You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
You haven't heard?
I don't know.
We're full.
We're full and we're being invaded.
We're full and we're being invaded. Which, by the way, we
by
are
vermin.
Full thing was one of the things that the Nazis did employ. We are full. It was one of the reasons they had to invade nearby countries because Germany was full and needed room. We're doing it in a somebody said we're full. Has anyone seen Montana, Wyoming, Idaho? I don't think we're full. Beyond belief.
No.
We're heading into...
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We're heading into horror. Mike Pence has said that the movie was deeply inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear Mayor Pete to Pence?
Yeah, we did. I did note that. It was made by a small Christian production company. It's the story of a woman who apparently headed a Planned Parenthood clinic a long, long time ago, somewhere in Texas. Abby Johnson is her name. And she is a huge celebrity in the anti-abortion movement because she quit because she couldn't bear she saw an abortion. And I guess the film starts with this abortion she sees and mischaracterizes what a fetus. It's an abortion at 13 weeks. And
a doll-sized child does not come out.
No, it sounds like it's horrific, but well, here's what it says. The first scene, she is witnessing an ultrasound-guided termination of pregnancy at 13 weeks. It shows a fetus with a discernible head, torso, and limbs frantically squirming away from a doctor's probe, twisting and fighting for its life before literally being liquefied by suction. Okay. A doctor who is with the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists who has performed ultrasound-guided abortion said the idea that a 13-week-old fetus would be fighting for its life is truly misleading. While there may be movement, it has no experience of pain at that point. There is no neurological capability for awareness of danger. Its brain is totally, that part of the brain is not developed. So they characterize it in a way as if that, it's horrific, right? How do you, and it's, I don't know. Another anti-abortion film starring Jon Voight will be coming to a theater near you soon. That one's called Roe v. Wade. They are really, get ready. All these young women who just assume this right is solid. It ain't going to be. Women's ability to control their pregnancies because the other side is simply brilliant at disinformation, misinformation, and it's easy. I mean, it's easy to do. So I'm just telling you, get ready. You're going to hear a lot more about this movie, Unplanned. Meanwhile, there's also a bill, I think, in Georgia that has just been. This was something else.
Oh yeah.
Do you hear about the Georgia bill? Which one are you thinking of?
Yeah, you can't have an abortion if you're pregnant enough to know you're pregnant.
Right. Let me see. The Alabama bill that even the most sensitive pregnancy test would not be able to detect whether or not an embryo is implanted in the uterus at the point which this Alabama bill would make abortion illegal. One of the guys who was supporting the bill in Alabama is quoted as saying this. Look, he helped draft the bill. After a man and a woman have sex, quote, you can take her straight to a clinic and determine whether the egg and sperm came together.
This is so disgusting.
That's such bullshit.
You can take her. You can take that rag that you dumped your semen in and shake her out.
First of all, you can't. It is not medically possible. But this
you could just go in and have a routine D&C, for every 24 hours,
The fact is that there's all these men who are making decisions about women's bodies and health that don't have a clue how women's bodies even work.
Or any intent to change their own behavior.
Oh, yeah.
Witness the statement.
Yeah. One lawmaker in Idaho at a legislative hearing said, well, can't a woman get a gynecological exam by swallowing a tiny camera?
What?
Susan?
What?
He asked at the hearing.
Well, can I suggest there's a shorter route to that idiot? But anyway, no.
So the answer here, the New York Times is, well, no more than a dentist can do the job by looking at your feet. There's a Texas state representative who believed that abortion providers cut into women's bodies. He was railing against that. That is not what happens. A Texas lawmaker who said that while getting a rape kit exam, quote, the woman can get cleaned out to end her pregnancy. That's just...
Which, by the way, is an abortion.
Yeah.
If she's pregnant.
And that's not what rape kits are about.
I'm telling you, I've heard this before. And no, it's not. Not if you don't know whether you're pregnant.
So these are just statements that have been made recently by Republican men, office holders. The greatest of all was the guy who I think was your representative, right? Todd Akin? In Missouri.
Sure. But he's right. Women don't get pregnant if they only get pregnant by rape.
Here's what he said.
I've
got it right here, Suze. If it's only
if they enjoyed it.
If it's a legitimate rape, those are the first 4 words he had uttered. If it's a legitimate, that's more than 4, a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down. he believed that raped women.
Do you think that means that Todd's been running around raping women, sure that he couldn't possibly impregnate anyone?
I can't imagine. And then remember what Trump said the other day about these hordes of women and children coming north? He said, I got the quote, "Mothers who love their daughters give them massive amounts of birth control pills because they know their daughters are going to be raped." Now, anyone who would say they give their daughters massive amounts of birth control pills has not a clue right there of how
birth control pills work.
You know, we're heading through Mexico and you're going to be raped, so take 20 of these pills.
Birth control pills, yes, immediately.
And here's our own Rick Santorum. Many of the Christian faith have said, well, that's okay, contraception, that's okay. It's not okay. It's a license to do things in a sexual realm that is counter to how things are supposed to be. And make no mistake,
So Santorum only has had sex with his wife 6 times, or how many ever kids he has.
Yeah, I got to tell you.
And once she hits, once she's past childbearing age, he never touches her again.
You know, his wife, Karen, before she met Rick, was the live-in girlfriend to an abortion doctor.
Isn't life interesting?
Isn't life interesting? Yeah. Who I knew. I knew him. I knew him socially. And creepier still, he was obviously a gynecologist. He had presided at her birth. He brought Karen into this world.
Oh, well, that's pretty creepy.
Yep. Yeah. But then she met Rick, and he set her straight, I guess. I don't know, because she left the abortion doctor for Rick. But that all of these men and their religion are intruding on our right to regulate our own lives, our bodies, is just amazing. It's just amazing. Laura writes, what is it with all these men doing anti-abortion films? They aren't the ones impregnated. It's ridiculous. Well, it doesn't matter. Listen, Laura, they are our betters.
They are our lords and masters, and the sooner that we get with the program, the happier we'll be, girls.
That is correct. And let's just end with this little factoid. The Trump administration, taking money away from Planned Parenthood, is, of course, awarding tons of money to groups like something called the Obria Group, which supposedly provides family planning services that includes everything but contraception.
Family planning.
No, contraception. They don't believe in it. They won't.
Well, that's right.
They won't even. So our tax dollars are now going, not to Planned Parenthood, but are going to go to groups that literally will not provide patients with a condom. And they call themselves family planning services.
Well, they're telling you how many kids to plan for.
Here is, I forgot who even wrote this column because I didn't write. I just read you one little bit. Some religions, notably including the Catholic Church, believe sex is sinful if it precludes the possibility of producing a baby. That's where Santorum is coming from. The First Amendment gives the faithful the right to try to convince women that their way is God's way, but it does not allow them to pass laws that make the rest of the country have to follow their religious tenets. There ought to be a way. I mean, how is that? How did we come to this?
Because they have the one true word. So this isn't a matter of faith. This is the one true word. This is the capital T, capital R, capital U, capital T, capital H.
All right. We're a secular nation. There's supposedly division of, state and church here.
Not if it's the truth.
And not if any of these cases go to this Supreme Court. Our country.
We don't know. Let's see. Apparently there's this bromance between Roberts and Kavanaugh, and they're mysteriously more moderate than anybody expected.
Bullshit, Susan. Don't fall for it. They are.
Well, I'm not falling for it.
Horrendously right wing, white male supremacists. Just want to say. All right. Well, that's it. We didn't get to see Susan's angry face. Too bad.
I'm sorry. I'm so cheerful.
God. All right. Well, I'm glad you're cheerful, Susan.
Well, it's a beautiful thing. There you go. Bye.
Bye. And that's Ernie. Okay. Bye, Suze. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Ernie's back home in Chicago. Okay. That's it for me. And bye. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.